Hi you guys, welcome back to the Finley Life and welcome back to another vlog. In today's video, I am going to be sharing my 2-week wait symptoms before getting my big fat positive, and I'm also going to be including in this video my weeks 4 through 12 pregnancy update. I was going to do 2 separate videos, but considering circumstances right now, which I'll get into that later, I am putting these 2 videos together. So if you're interested in learning more about that, then keep on watching. To share with you guys my early pregnancy symptoms, my 2-week wait symptoms. I know a lot of us ladies that are in the TTC community that have been diagnosed with infertility, we like to see everyone else's symptoms and we kind of symptom check and spot check here and there. And so I just wanted to share my symptoms in hopes that maybe they can help someone. But everybody's symptoms are so different when they're pregnant. Even my symptoms this time around were totally different from the symptoms that I had when I found out I was pregnant with Caleb. So no 2 pregnancies are the same. No 2 women's symptoms are the same. So this is just me sharing my early pregnancy symptoms of what I experienced during my 2-week wait. So many of you know that Derek and I did a frozen embryo transfer back in January 31st to be exact, and that frozen embryo transfer was successful, thank God. So we are pregnant, and I did a whole video on finding out I'm pregnant and telling my son that I'm pregnant. So if you would like to go back and watch those 2 videos, I'll link them. They're linked in the description box below, so you can go back and see those. So again, on January 31st, 2020, we transferred 1 embryo, and that embryo has led us to our BFP. And I am so thankful and grateful to God for just his faithfulness, his perfect timing, and just all of the above. I was so afraid that this particular transfer was not going to work. I was so afraid that it hadn't worked because I wasn't having a lot of common symptoms that you have when finding out that you're pregnant, and that I had when I found out I was pregnant with Caleb after we transferred him. So yeah, I was just a little bit thrown off, and so I didn't think that we were pregnant at all. It was a very interesting 2 weeks. So anyways, let's get into it. I have notes written down, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes so that I can remember everything. So that Friday after transfer, I came home, rested, didn't do anything, stayed in bed, rested all day as instructed by my doctor. And that Friday, I felt a little bit of cramping, and I was like, oh, well, maybe the embryo's already implanting. Nothing much, nothing else. I just felt cramping. On Saturday, February 1st, I was extremely sleepy and I was tired, but I couldn't nap. I was a little bit restless. I just could not seem to get a nap at all. I mean, I was laying there wanting to take a nap, but I just wouldn't fall asleep. I just couldn't get to sleep. So, and then that night as well, I didn't sleep well that night, and I had lower back pain. So I just remember on that Saturday night, just tossing and turning in bed because I just could not sleep. And it could have just been the excitement of knowing that there was an embryo that had just been transferred. I'm sure that's what it was, but I was tired, but I just could not get to sleep at all. Sunday, February 2nd, I had dull ovary pain and slight momentary cramping, and I cried and I was weepy. So I don't know why. I was just a little bit emotional. I was weepy. I cried. I can't even remember what I was crying about, but I was just weepy for some reason. And I don't know why I was so weepy. I had the dull ovary pain. I had dull ovary pain on my right and my left side. Kind of like how it feels when you're about to start your period, but you don't start a period. Kind of felt that way. And I had some slight cramping as well. On Monday, February 3rd, I had some lightheadedness. It was not like extreme lightheadedness, but it was very light, very slight lightheadedness. Like I could definitely tell I was like, you know, kind of off a little bit. More cramping. And again, I was emotional that morning before work, and I was emotional that night before bed. I remember just, again, I think I was letting my doubts and my worries get the best of me. Like, what if this frozen embryo transfer didn't work? What if baby doesn't stick? Just all of the what ifs kind of had me all over the place. And in addition to that, let's not forget, I was dosed up on hormones. I was taking the estrase pills twice a day, once in the morning and one at night. And at this point, I was taking still on my estrogen patch, switching those on every Friday and Monday of the week. And I was on progesterone and oil. So a lot of hormones. So I'm pretty sure that contributed as well to just some of my being emotional and my emotions being up and down as well. On Tuesday, February 4th, I had a really sensitive nose. I remember being at work and I was seeing a client of mine, and she was a teen, and I could smell her breath, and she wasn't even very close to me, y'all. Like, she was several feet away from my desk. Like, it's not like she was right at my face. My nose was just very sensitive. My sense of smell was very keen, and I have a really sensitive nose anyways, but this day, like, it was turned up, seemed like times 1,000. She was not very close to me at all, but I could just, as she talked, as I asked her different questions about things that were going on with her, I could smell her breath. And I also smelled a BO. And that was very unusual for me because, again, she was not very close to me. But I think just, if she kind of shifted in her seat or moved, and like I could smell BO. And so I don't know. And I was like, this is weird. So that I definitely noticed that. On Thursday, February 6th, I stayed home from work. This is the day I tested at home. This is the day I got my big fat positive. I had a really bad headache. I went and got a home pregnancy test after I dropped Caleb off at school. Took it and found out I was pregnant. And so that was the best day ever. The best day ever. At that point, at taking the test, I was 6 days post 5 days transfer, which is equivalent to 11 days post ovulation. And at that point, I would have been 3 weeks, 4 days pregnant. So I found out at 3 weeks, 4 days that I was pregnant. And so that all of that happened on Thursday, February 6th. On Friday, February 7th, I was really tired. I was cramping. I had mild nausea for the first time. And it wasn't like an overwhelming, like, oh my God, I'm so sick. It was just really mild, like just the annoying type where, you don't feel extremely sick, but it's just an annoying slight nausea. That's how I felt. And I had shortness of breath. It just seems like whenever I would walk or do anything around the house, like I just felt really short of breath. And so I don't know what that was about. Saturday, February 8th, just more cramping, just feeling tired, fatigued, didn't really want to do anything, didn't have a lot of energy, and gas. Sunday, February 9th, more fatigue, more shortness of breath, and cramps. I'm assuming that the cramps were just still, baby just getting snuggled, comfortable in utero, and the shortness of breath. For what I researched, your blood volume increases, and so you're having to, your body's doing a lot trying to make this little human. So I just attribute that to me being a little bit short of breath and more tired, of course. And then we get to Monday, February 10th, which is the big day, big blood beta day. I was super excited, but also anxious and nervous because you know that when you're going through IVF and you get a positive at home, and then you get to your fertility clinic, they draw blood, and then your number doesn't come back as what it should be, or your number is not doubling. So although I knew that we were pregnant, I was just in a little ways kind of anxious and just ready to get that number back. And thank God it came back at 307. Gave me confidence that this baby's definitely sticking around. Like, this pregnancy is definitely healthy. That took away all of my anxiousness and my little bit of concern about how baby was doing, how this pregnancy was doing. And so everything went well. Our number that day came back at 307, so I couldn't ask for anything more. So it was Monday, February 10th. That's all for my early pregnancy symptoms and my 2-week wait symptoms. And so now I am going to get into weeks 4 through 12 pregnancy updates. I'm going to try not to prolong this. I'm going to try to be very, very quick. So this video won't get too long. So weeks 4 through 12 prego update. So at 4 weeks on Wednesday, February 12th, my second beta came back at 1,126. So again, just more confirmation that our baby was healthy, our baby is growing, our baby is snugly and tight in my uterus where it should be, and that all is going well. At 5 weeks, week 5 was very scary for me. At week 5, I started to have some bleeding, some really light bleeding. I wasn't like dark brown or anything, but it was just red blood, like light red blood. It totally freaked me out, of course, especially considering, just my history of experiencing miscarriage and preterm labor and birth, and with Caleb, and just all of that. Like, it just totally freaked me out. And so so on Sunday, February 16th, I had some bleeding. It was at night. I remember I was laying on the couch just relaxing, not feeling the greatest, of course, feeling nauseous. Food was not my friend. I wasn't like vomiting or anything. I wasn't throwing up, but me and food just was not getting along. I mean, everything that I ate just tasted horrible. I'm an onion girl. I love to put onions in my food. I like to season my meals and my food with onion powder when I cook. I love onions on my burgers and my food in different dishes. And this baby was not having it. I mean, whatever I ate, especially onions, left a terrible taste in my mouth that I just could not stand. Aside from that, just any food that I ate just would leave such a bad, horrible taste in my mouth. It made me not even want to eat at all. I remember Sunday night on February 16th, I was just resting on the couch, tired, exhausted, just like, oh God, somebody help me. I was grateful, but just going through it pregnancy symptom wise. And I had to use the restroom. I remember that I needed to go to the restroom. I got up and went to the restroom, and I wiped, and there was red blood. My mind immediately went to, oh my God, I'm having a miscarriage. I was so afraid, and went up front, told Derek, and of course he started freaking out a little bit, but he was trying to stay calm and help me stay calm. We were headed to the ER. We were playing no games. It was like, we know we ain't trying to play any games. Let's go to the ER. I was like, take me to the doctor ASAP. Let's go. So we loaded up. This is like about 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. It's cold. We loaded up. Caleb was asleep. We had to wake him up out of his sleep. And we loaded up and headed to the ER. And on the way there, as we were preparing to leave home, I called our clinic, the on-call doctor. And he told me to not go to ER because there's really nothing that they would be able to do in the event that, God forbid, I were having a miscarriage or something like that. Like, there would be nothing that really they could do to like stop it or anything like that. He told me to just go back home and rest and see if the bleeding kind of subsided or if it got worse, then go to the ER. So we came back home, we turned around, came back home, and I just laid down some more. And he told me every 30 minutes kind of check to see if there's more bleeding. Laid down to rest, and 30 minutes later, went to the restroom, checked. There was no blood. And then another 30 minutes later, went back to the restroom. There was blood. The doctor also informed me to call my fertility specialist that following Monday to let her know what was going on and give her heads up follow up. And so, so that she can get me into the clinic for a sonogram and to just check my HCG level and my progesterone. So that's what I did that following Monday, the 17th. And that was my third beta. That beta came back at 8,515. So, and then my progesterone was at 40 plus. So baby, my numbers were fine. My doctor actually did a sonogram. The sonogram showed baby was measuring right at 5 weeks as it should. They didn't see any bleeding, like in utero, like me having a subchorionic hematoma or anything like that could have been causing the bleeding. The only explanation my doctor gave me, my fertility doctor gave me, was that at the time I was on 100 milligrams of Lovenox twice daily. So I was taking 200 milligrams of Lovenox twice daily. And that's the dose that I was on pre-pregnancy. And that's the dose that I just continued on, you know, up until that point. And so she suggested that I get in contact with my hematologist to set up an appointment with her to discuss kind of lowering the dose, since I am bleeding and no one really knew why I was bleeding at this point. So I did call my hematologist for an appointment, and she couldn't get me in. I couldn't get to her until Friday, the 21st of that same week. And then on that following Tuesday, September 18th, I ended up going to the ER because it's like the bleeding stopped and subsided, but then it came back. And that was just what was happening for a good week and a half, 2 weeks. Like the bleeding would stop and it would start, it would come and it would stop, it would come and stop, start, stop, start. And so I was just a nervous wreck. Week 5 through like week 6, 7, I was a nervous wreck. All I could do was pray over my baby, intercede over my baby, its life, and just pray that I wasn't, pray against miscarriage, and just continue to pray for a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby. And just, that's what I done. They did a sonogram to confirm that baby was okay. Baby looked okay. Of course, they did take my blood to get my HCG numbers. HCG was good, but they couldn't give me an explanation. The only thing they told me was that I had a cervical cyst, which is a Nabothean cyst, a cyst on your cervix, which is nothing to be worried about. And when she told me that, I was like, well, maybe that's why I'm bleeding, from the cyst. So I have a cyst on my cervix. She also told me that I had a UTI. So I had a UTI, I had to take antibiotics. So that's another medication that I was adding to the numerous medication, hormones and stuff that I'm taking. It was just, oh my God, so many meds. I was so overtaking meds orally, intramuscularly. I was just over it. All the shots, all the pills, just more medicine piling up. I mean, I was just over it. I was over it. But so yeah, so I got diagnosed with a UTI, and then a Nabothean cervical cyst. But she did tell me that the Nabothean cervical cyst was nothing to be worried about, nothing that could affect my pregnancy, nothing harm my pregnancy or my labor or my delivery. So that kind of helped me feel a little bit better. We go on the rest of week 5, February 20th. Again, bleeding, but this time with a tiny little clot. Y'all, when I saw this little clot, you have to know, if you've ever been a woman who's pregnant and you have experience with miscarriage and loss, and you're bleeding and you see the tiniest of clot, like that is so nerve-wracking. Like that is nerve-wracking. Like when I saw that tiny clot, I was like, this cannot be good. I started thinking the worst of the worst. We had to get back into my fertility specialist. I know I saw her at least 2 or 3 times before I was supposed to have my initial first appointment with my fertility specialist. Again, seeing my fertility specialist, they're doing sonograms, checking my blood, everything's looking good. And the only explanation again is that maybe my Lovenox dosage needed to be adjusted, needed to be decreased, because I'm bleeding, didn't know why I was bleeding, and I could be losing a lot of blood, which could not be good for the pregnancy. Again, not a lot of answers. That Friday, February 21st, I finally got in to see my doctor, my hematologist, and that visit initially didn't go so well. she always told me that when we've conceived, because she knows that I can, my history and conceiving Caleb, she was aware that my husband and I were trying to conceive. And she told me my last visit, I don't need to see you again until you're pregnant. Cool. So I go see her on Friday, February 21st, and, explain to her I'm pregnant and everything that's been going on. And I could tell that her energy was just off. She wasn't her normal, typical self. The energy was just off, and the way she was talking about things and the way she was explaining things to me, I could tell that she was a little flustered and maybe she'd had a bad day. And we're sitting there and we're talking, and she's like, well, if your doctors, if your fertility specialist and your OB, if they feel like, it's the low knots, they're going to have to, we're going to have to talk and come together and figure out what to do, which I understood that, but it was the way she was conveying this message to me that just didn't sit right with me. After she said all that, she didn't examine me like she normally do. She didn't listen to, my lungs or my heart rate, or just kind of look me over like she normally do. She left out of the room. I was very uneasy about that. And I went ahead and checked out, and I was walking to my car, but then I turned back around and I'm like, no, I'm gonna go back up there and let her know that I'm not okay. For one, you didn't examine me. For two, I'm not okay with your tone and, this whole discussion we just had in regards to my pregnancy and me bleeding and this whole low overnight situation. So I went back upstairs. I let the receptionist know I need to see doctor. And I told her why, because she did not examine me. She just seemed very off. I go back in the room. The doctor comes back in, and she's like, I just kind of told her, I was like, I don't appreciate that, I'm pregnant and I'm a high risk pregnancy at that. And I'm on these blood thinners, and there's a lot going on right now. All of my doctors, including you, are trying to figure out what's going on. And you just seem a little off today. And you didn't even examine me. You didn't even look me over like you normally do. And she was very apologetic. She apologized to me. She said that she was sorry. Before she apologized, she just kind of gave me a rundown that it had been a long day. And not only she's a hematologist, she's an oncologist as well. So she has a lot of cancer patients. And I guess that day had been a tough day for her because she'd had to tell several people, not so great news in regards to their cancer diagnosis, life and all that, in which I get it. However, I told her, I just told her, how I felt about how she didn't look me over and how I felt neglected by her. And she totally understood. She was very apologetic. She hugged me and she said, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. You're right. You are a patient. Because I told her, I was like, I'm a patient too. Like, I'm one of your patients. I've been a patient of yours for years now. And for me to come in here and you act that way and then, not even look me over or anything, like that was not okay. And she totally agreed. She was apologetic. She asked me would I forgive her, and she was sorry. So we just moved on. And so at the end of the day, what I learned is advocate for yourself. Not what I learned, what I've always known and which I practice, is to advocate for yourself. Speak up. If you're feeling uneasy about something your doctor's doing or not doing, something they say or didn't say, you have questions, ask questions, speak up, advocate for yourself. So that was that. We moved past it, and she's an amazing doctor. I love my hematologist. So we just had that one little bump in the road, and we've moved past it. Everything's been great since. So that concludes week 5. Week 6, I saw my perinatologist, my maternal fetal medicine doctor. So relieved to be able to get in to see him, because at this point, I was still a nervous wreck. I was still bleeding off and on, not knowing what's going on. So got into him. Of course, he did ultrasound. And again, everything looked fine. But I did tell him about the paperwork that I got from the ER. Kind of said something about maybe a subchorionic hematoma. Well, when he did the sonogram, he said that he didn't see any subchorionic hematomas. He didn't see any bleeding. He didn't see anything. So again, he got on the phone, called my hematologist, who he's very familiar with, which is what I love about my doctors. All of my doctors are at the same hospital, and they all know each other because they all kind of have some of the same patients and they have to communicate and talk. So that's just a plus. That makes me feel so much better. And so he got her on the phone, had the nurse get her on the phone so that they could discuss decreasing my Lovenox from 200 milligrams twice a day to 40 milligrams once a day, at least until the bleeding stopped. And so that's what they decided on. That's what we did. I immediately went down to 40 milligrams of Lovenox injection once a day. And so after my appointment with him, the bleeding it subsided. It got better and it stopped. It kind of just teetered off. Baby's heart rate at that appointment, I'm sorry, this is my 7th week. This is the 7th-week pregnancy update. The heartbeat at that appointment was 157. So baby's heartbeat was strong. Baby was looking good, healthy, measuring right where they should be at 7 weeks. No issues there. That following Thursday of the next week, at this point, I'm 8 weeks for another sonogram. And again, everything looked well. Updated her on the Lovenox change, and she was happy to hear that. No issues, no concerns about baby's growth, the development, measurements, anything like that. Baby was measuring right where it should be. Not much happening going on week 9. Week 10, I discontinued all of my hormones. The stress pills, the patch, and the progesterone and oil. Oh my God, y'all. That was the highlight of week 10. Because when I tell you that progesterone and oil shots every night at 9 o'clock, and the stress and the patch, just all of that, I was like, oh God, I'm so ready to stop taking this. I started to get sore. So yeah, I was so overtaking all the medicines, all the hormones. I was just ready for it to be over. So as of March 22nd, 2020, on a Sunday, at 10 weeks, I was officially done with all of my hormones, all of them. And it felt amazing to not have to take another shot or another pill, or to have to put on or take off another patch. So praise God for that. So that was week 10. Week 11, I switched to, so all the way up until week 11, I was taking 40 milligrams of Lovenox once a day. Week 11, on Wednesday, April 1st, I switched from the 40 milligram once a day and switched up to 40 milligrams twice a day. And that's what I'm still on at this moment, at this point, 40 milligrams twice daily, until I see my hematologist again at the end of the month. So moving on to week 12, not much going on except for our pregnancy announcement. We officially announced that we were pregnant to the world on Good Friday, April 10th. Those of you who follow my vlog know that I typically record my videos in my living room, and I'm in my bedroom this time because I am on modified bed rest right now. My perinatologist, aka maternal fetal medicine doctor, has stated that he wants me on modified bed rest for a week. So I will officially be off modified bed rest next Tuesday. And so that's why I am recording this video from my bed. Also, I have a little bit of energy. I'm starting to get my energy back. I'm not as fatigued. I haven't been feeling nauseous, thank God. The only symptoms I've had from weeks, I want to say weeks maybe 7 or 8 up until this point, is severe indigestion and severe heartburn. I have had a lot of heartburn and indigestion, and it's been terrible. It has been so terrible. I eat after I eat, no matter what I eat, it just sends flames up in my chest and my throat, and I feel like I'm so full that my food is gonna come back up, and if it's like my food is just sitting in my throat, it's just terrible. So that's what I'm presently dealing with. I wanted to share all that with you guys, kind of get you caught up and up to speed, because I'm gonna start doing my weekly. I may do weekly, or I don't know. You guys let me know. Would you like me to do weekly pregnancy updates, like 13 week, 14 week, 15 week, or would you prefer me do every other week, like weeks 13 through 15 pregnancy updates? Or And then week 16 through 18 pregnancy updates. Would you like me to do them weekly or every other week? Like, you let me know what you would like. I'm cool with it either way. I don't have a preference. I just want to know, you guys watching, what you prefer. That'll kind of help me know how to proceed with the pregnancy updates. But I will continue this pregnancy update series every week or every other week, just depending on what you guys would like me to do. Well, I thank God for continuing to allow me to have a healthy pregnancy, healthy baby, a healthy me. Everything is going well. The bleeding has stopped. Whew, God, the bleeding has stopped. Thank God. Everything is going well. And my husband has been amazing. When I tell you he's amazing, he's amazing. And not just now during this pregnancy. He's just a great husband, a great father, just great all around. And when I tell you, he's stepped up and stepped in like he always does when we're going through things or something's going on with me and I need to be resting. He steps it up and does what he has to do with no complaints. Just make sure that I have what I need, what I got, and that I'm good. And I'm so thankful for him and I'm grateful for him. And I just have the best husband in the world. And so I love that man and I thank God for him. And then Caleb has been amazing. He's right with his daddy. No, mommy, you need to sit down. No, mommy, you can't do that. No, mommy, you don't need to eat that. The baby doesn't need that. Like, he is on it. They're both on it. And so I just thank God for my two Finley men. Just loving me the way they love me and just taking care of me, at least during this time until I can get out of this bed, off modified bed rest, and be able to move around more. Yeah, that's the end of this video, guys. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new around here, again, my name is Tiffany Finley. This is the Finley Life Vlog. My channel is all about motherhood. It's about faith. It's about trying to conceive, and it's about pouring the word of God into you, and helping you to set your eyes on God and not on the situation or circumstance or the mountain in front of you, to know you can overcome and that you are victorious. That's what the Finley Life is all about. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and follow me on Instagram at Tiffany_Finley, because I share a lot of real-time updates there as well. So a lot of individuals who follow me on Instagram, you get the updates as they're happening, as opposed to during the vlogs. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. And I'm also going to give you guys a quick bump shot of my belly.